Here, by contrast, is a transcript from Avianca 052 as the plane is going in for its orbited first landing. The issue is the weather. The fog is so thick that Klaus and Cavadas cannot figure out where they are. Pay close attention, though, not to the content of their conversation, but to the form. In particular, note the length of the silences between utterances and the tone of Klaus' remarks. Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Cavadas, the runway. Where is it? I don't see it. They take up the landing gear. The captain tells Klaus to ask for another traffic pattern. 10 seconds pass. Cavadas, we don't have fuel. 17 seconds pass and the pilots give technical instructions to each other. Cavadas, I don't know what happened with the runway. I didn't see it. Klaus, I didn't see it. Air traffic control comes in and tells them to make a left turn. Tell them we are in an emergency. Klaus, that's right, to 180 on the heading, and we'll try once again. We're running out of fuel. Imagine the scene in the cockpit. The plane is dangerously low on fuel. They've just blown their first shot at a landing. They have no idea how much longer their plane is capable of flying. The captain is desperate. Tell them we are in an emergency. And what's Klaus say? That's right, to 180 on the heading, and we'll try once again. We're running out of fuel. To begin with, the phrase running out of fuel has no meaning air traffic control terminology. All planes, as they approach their destination, are by definition running out of fuel. Did Klaus mean that 052 no longer had enough fuel to make it to another alternative airport? Did he mean that they were beginning to get worried about their fuel? Next, consider the critical sentence. Klaus begins with a routine acknowledgement of the instructions from ATC and doesn't mention his concern about fuel until the second half of his sentence. As if we were saying in a restaurant, yes, I'll have some more coffee, and I'm chugging on a chicken bone. How seriously would the waiter take him? The air traffic controller with whom Klaus was speaking testified that he just took it as a passing comment. On stormy nights, air traffic controllers talk about running out of fuel all the time. Even the that Klaus inserts between the two halves of his sentence serves to undercut the importance of what he's saying. According to another of the controllers who handled 052 that night, Klaus spoke in a very nonchalant manner. There is no urgency in his voice. The term used by linguists to describe what Klaus was engaging in at that moment is mitigated speech, which refers to any attempt to downplay or sugarcoat the meaning of what is being said. We mitigate when we're being polite, or when we're ashamed or embarrassed, or when we're being deferential to authority. If you want your boss to do you a favor, you don't say, I'll need this by Monday. You mitigate. You say, don't bother. If it's too much trouble, but if you have the chance to look at this over the weekend, that would be great. In a situation like that, mitigation is entirely appropriate. In other situations, however, like a cockpit on a stormy night, it's a problem. The linguists Hugh Fisher and Judith Ronson once gave the following hypothetical scenario to a group of captains and first officers and asked them how they would respond. You notice on the weather radar an area of heavy precipitation 25 miles ahead. The pilot is maintaining his present course at Mach 73, even though embedded thunderstorms have been reported to your area and you encounter moderate turbulence. You want to ensure that your aircraft will not penetrate this area. Question, what do you say to the pilot? In Fisher and Ronsonu's minds, there were at least 6 different ways to try to persuade the pilot to change course and avoid the bad weather, each with a different level of mitigation. Fisher and Ronsonu found that captains overwhelmingly said they would issue command in that situation, turn 30 degrees right. They were talking to a subordinate, they had no fear of being blunt. The first officers, on the other hand, were talking to their boss, so they overwhelmingly chose the mitigated alternative that hinted. It's hard to read Fisher and Ronsonu's study and not be a little bit alarmed, because the hint is the hardest request to decode and the easiest to refuse. In the Air Florida crash outside Washington, D.C., the first officer tried 3 times to tell the captain that the plane had a dangerous amount of ice on its wings, but listen to how he says it. It's all hints. First officer, look how the ice is just hanging on the back there. You see that? Then first officer, see all those icicles on the back there and everything? And then first officer, boy, this is a losing battle here, and trying to de-ice those things, it gives you a false sense of security. That's all that does. Finally, as they get clearance for takeoff, the first officer upgrades 2 notches to his crew suggestion. Let's check those wing tops again since we've been sitting here a while. Captain, I think we gotta go here in a minute. The last thing the first officer says to the captain just before the plane plunges into the Potomac River is not a hint, a suggestion, or command. It's a simple statement of fact, and this time the captain agrees with him. First officer, Larry, we're going down, Larry. Captain, I know it.